Hey, Monica here. Today I will show you 2 ways to make boxes out of a clay slab. So, to make a slab, I take some clay and flatten it out with the palm of my hand. Then I use a rolling pin and rolling outwards from the center, flipping the clay often. Once the clay slab is about 1 centimeter thick, I use a damp sponge and quickly pass over the slab. Then I use a solid flat surface. Here I use a Tupperware lid to go over the slab. This strengthens the slab, so make sure to pass the lid horizontally, vertically, and diagonally over the slab. I do this on both sides. Now that I've finished that, I let it sit for a few hours until it is hard enough to be able to easily handle, but soft enough that it does not crack when bent. Now I use some paper and scissors to cut out a template for my box. I make a paper rectangle that is 6 inches by 3 inches and another that is 3 inches by 3.5 inches. Now I roll a coil to be about 1.5 centimeters thick and cut it into 2 pieces, each long as the box will be wide, and set these aside. I take one of my big rectangles and using a toothpick I score one of the sides. I take another big rectangle and I score only the edge. I grab my slip and place it where I scored the clay and wiggle the 2 scored surfaces together until they stick. I roll out a super thin coil of clay and place it on the inside corner of my box. And then I used a clay tool, but a popsicle stick would work even better, and I just smooth it over, and I also smooth over the outside so no cracks are visible and there's a strong bond between the edges. I repeat the same steps on the other side. I score the last 2 sides of the box and the edges of one of the smaller rectangles, making sure that the longer side of the rectangle is vertical and the shorter side is horizontal. And I do the same for the opposite side. Now I smooth over the entire box with a popsicle stick and a damp sponge. Bring out those coils from earlier. These will be the feet. Squish them a little bit, score them, place some slip on them, and then wiggle them into place at the bottom of your box. Now set aside your box and let it dry. For the second box, I make some paper templates. A 3 by 3 inch square, a 4 by 3 inch rectangle, and a 5 by 5 inch square. I place these onto my pre-prepared slab and cut 2 of each shape. For now, I set aside the largest square. First, I take one of the rectangles and a square, and line up the square to be on the edge of the rectangle, where I will glue it. I mark how much I need to score, then I use a toothpick and score both the side of the rectangle and the edge of the square. I add slip and wiggle the pieces together. Use a popsicle stick to smooth over the seams. I take the other small square and do the exact same thing on the same rectangle. Then I score the last 2 edges and using slip, I attach the last rectangle. After I smoothed over all the seams, I take one of the larger squares and place the box onto it. I mark where I need to score, then add slip and attach the box. I smooth out the seams again, and I do the same to the next square. Now I cut off any excess clay. So now I have a cube, and to make this into a box, I'm gonna cut off the lid. I start off by making a template. I want the lid to be 1 inch thick, so I make a line at the 1 inch mark. Now, to add some fun, I draw a semicircle and cut out my template. Place the template where the top of your box will be and use a toothpick to mark the clay. Make sure the end of your marks line up. Now use a toothpick or any tool of your choosing and slowly cut into your clay where you marked. Once your pieces are separated, check if the lid slides off too easily. If it does, you might want to add a lip of clay to keep it in place. Do this by rolling out some clay to be thinned and cut to fit inside your box. Score, add slip, then place inside the box so it sticks out just enough to keep your lid in place. And that's it! You can smooth out the clay with a sponge, add your name to both the bottom of the box and the lid, then set your box aside to dry. If you want to try this out for yourself, we do sell clay here at the shop for $1 per pound. You can get your piece fired with glaze for $15 per piece or without glaze for $5 per piece. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time.